This video is made for adult collectors because bro's a bodybuilder apparently.
Okay, I know we're stuck out here in the middle of nowhere on a thankless assignment. But remember, we're all cogs in a great big Autobot machine.
Not this speech again.
A machine that's stronger as a whole than any one component part. Together, we can move this.
I love animated toys, as I've been slowly discovering, but like all the animated toys I have right now are primes. I've even got one more on the way, and it's also a prime. God damn. Okay, I promise I'll get more than just prime after Rollout Command Optimus, but this one here is odd. Before I get into this quickly, just to get the YouTubery stuff out of the way, I did mention in the last video that I have a Patreon, so if you want to check that out, you can do that. That'll be linked in the description below. You do not have to do this, but if you want to, go right ahead. But this prime is built like... Why he built like that? Why? Look at him. Look at what's with the hands, man. His fists are in such a weird spot. Like, I fully get the rest of the proportions because that's what makes animated prime great, but the arms on this toy can just... like, I can't take them seriously. They look hilariously weird. The reason it's like this is because of some killer weapon storage, which you already know I'm a huge fan of, but if the weapon storage is going to take away from the look of the specific mode, then I'm not a fan of it, Studio Series Galvatron. Other than the fists though, I really like this design, and what's nice is it's a deluxe prime, so you can find it for cheap. Theoretically. I had both deluxe primes at one point, and while I want to get the other one again, this one was my favorite of the two because it's just different. He's built like a bodybuilder with those wide shoulders and the neck that looks like it's full of muscles, and definitely a weird look to me, but it adds a lot of extra articulation, so that's a plus attached to it. I really dig the head sculpt. Usually I opt for battle masks on my primes, but when it comes to animated, I much prefer the non-battle mask look because that's what he looked like most of the time in the show. And this one nails it. The paint is clean, the tooling is on point, it's just nice. A lot nicer to me than the Voyager's head. I do feel the legs are a bit too squat, but that's probably just a byproduct of his massive arms. Speaking of the arms, he has these smokestack bits on them that in like the robot mode, they can be used as cannons or fire hoses or whatever. He comes with two accessories. His axe, which is comically small and opens to be double-sided, which is actually quite nice. The handle is rather annoying to hinge, to like stay straight because of that floppy ass hinge. It's detented, but it's not detented enough, so it moves around way too much. And a shield? I don't know why this is here. I don't remember him having a shield in the show, but it's been a while since I've seen it. The shield plugs into the arm and opens to become a less effective shield. Like a well-placed shot from Prime or a stab and he's dead. There's a hole. It's like Kopaka's shield. Don't put holes in your shield. It's one of those we needed to parts form because of budget or engineering restraints, but we wanted the piece to still be useful for some random thing. So shield, that's literally what it's for. One good thing, I guess, about the weird hands is that he can two-hand his axe, but man, it still looks strange to me. Go get that, go get your wrist looked at, Prime. I think you broke something. So this, get out of here. So this Prime, his articulation is very similar to this dude's, but it does some things that are better and one thing that I find to be worse and something that they for some reason still didn't fix, but whatever. The head, this is what I don't like. You can't move the head unless you shift it forward on this joint, and then he's just looking down a little bit, or his neck feels like it's sticking up too much to me, and then it rotates on such a strange like axis. I don't like it. I think that's a bit strange. They sculpted these in. I feel like they should have just removed those so you could, you know, pose the neck normally, but that's just me. Shoulders are on ball joints that are very weird on mine. So they're stiff, 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 loose here, stiff, 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 very stiff up here, and then loose up here. They're so weird. If I put them in a specific spot, they're gonna be like this. But if I put them here, they're fine. I don't get it. The arms or the elbows are double jointed. You've got, this hinge is really stiff as well. You got ball joints here, so you got bicep swivels. Nothing at the wrists, and he looks like a monkey with his wrists like that. Yeah, whatever. This one shifts for transformation, but it's also good to shift it when you want to do like two-handed axe poses, because then you can layer the hands, which is nice, I guess. That's not where you want to put your hand, buddy. Oh, man. Now, the one cool thing about the shoulders that I really like, other than the fact that that one does that, is because of the transformation, you get an extra shoulder joint. Stay up. An extra shoulder joint that allows the arms to go all the way up, which is really nice. I like that. Fall down. You got waist joint right here. I believe the normal version has the spring-loaded one where you do this and it'll like punch forward. Unless this one had it and it was modified, but I don't think it was. It doesn't look like it's ever been taken apart. Hips are on ball joints, forward and back, in and out. They only go out that far. Never mind, they go out all the way. I'm just stupid. You have a below the knee swivel. Why? You have the room to put it up above the knee. Why do you do this? I hate this. I know you gotta rotate them around to collapse the knee, but you could have designed that differently so that you didn't even have to do that. Don't like below the knee swivels. I genuinely hate them. It's like doing below the elbow swivels. I don't have point blank handy, but point blank is an example of that. It sucks. And then you have the feet that can go forward and back. I also just noticed that my foot's paint chipping, which is great. But again, the way that his legs are sculpted, they want you to have him standing like this, because that's how his like animation model would normally stand. I'm not a big fan of that personally, but you can straighten the feet out and he still stands and stays planted. So he's standing at a more straight stance, which I do quite appreciate. I like how he can still, stay planted. Unlike this dude, which was fine, but it still became a little bit wobbly when you did that. The Deluxe, both Deluxes, do that quite well. Just those stupid goddamn knees. Transformation shares the leg part with the other Prime toys from Animated. Everything else just feels very different and kind of unexpected when you first do it, because the arms form the entire cab of the truck basically. The torso very cleverly unfolds into literally nothing as the arms fold around to meet the windshield and become the rest of the truck. It kind of amazes me how the entire upper body just disappears into the alt mode, and when you first do this transformation, it's very mind-blowing how they shift the mass and the orientation of everything around to create the truck, because it's not traditional. Truck mode is a half track, and that's actually pretty cool too. It's a very different looking truck, and I dig it. I love how the windshield just continues from the bottom all the way to the top, how the smokestacks end up connecting like the whole thing together, and how the friggin' axe becomes a trailer hitch. That's some excellent weapon storage and ultimately led me to keeping this over the other one. Now, he has no trailer to hitch to, which is a shame because I would have loved that. And it's a 5mm peg, so unfortunately trying to hook like the Earthrise trailer up to it, it's not gonna work because it's not a port. It's unfortunate, but the fact that it's there and you can do it is pretty awesome. It makes me feel like they had a trailer planned at some point and it never just came out, because why else would he have a hitch? For being a dude with 2 regular wheels and 2 of those tiny, horrible plastic ones, he rolls super well. I do wish that the treads were painted though, because they're just being blue, it looks like he's got nothing there and he's floating. You have to kind of turn it around to see that there are treads. One other thing I find weird about the alt mode is that it feels heavier than the robot. I know it physically can't be heavier than the robot because it is the same mass, but because it compacts most of the robot's the front here, it feels denser and weightier. Not a good or bad thing, it's just something I noticed. It's cool though, it shows you how mass shifting works, but like physically in your hand. In the end, yes, of course I'm going to recommend this. While I have my issues, it's still a good animated Prime, and most animated toys were great and definitely worth the pickup. I think I paid $20 sealed for this a few years ago, and its value has gone up since then. But used, I see it go for 20 to 30, which I honestly feel like is worth it. Just make sure you get both pieces, because if he's missing one or the other, you can't really complete the vehicle mode, unfortunately. And the axe head does fall off sometimes, so, make sure you get the axe head, not just the stick. But that's my look at Animated Optimus Prime, the Deluxe Cybertronian version. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Patreon if you want, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.